Acapulco, Mexico. This is Anarchast.
We are not afraid!
Oh, no fear. No fear of saying yes to everything. Yes. Can I? Yes. The answer is always yes. Just how much? I mean, just yes. Pace. Well, a lot of people that think this way are going to be at Anarchapulco the third year and Acapulco, Mexico. Now, the thing is interestingly, we have Jeff Berwick on. Now Jeff Berwick putting on Anarchapulco has Rick Falkvinge going down there, a Falcon Wing. Now, Rick is coming down representing the Pirate Party, but he said, I don't feel comfortable going to the United States of America. I just don't feel comfortable. But I'll go to Mexico and Acapulco. So tell us about this year, will you, Jeff?
Yeah, great to be on with you, Ernie. It's been quite a while. We're doing the third annual Anarchapulco coming up here in February 25th to 28th. Looking forward to seeing you all down here again. This is really going to blow your mind this year. I know, I think you've been at the last two, haven't you, Ernie?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you saw the first one. That was a bit of a bit of slumming it, a bit of a total chaos. We didn't know what we were doing last year, or actually this year. In 2016, as you saw, we got quite a bit better, got a little bit more organized, and we had a huge turnout, filled up the conference there at the Grand Hotel, and so I've decided just to go completely crazy this coming year in 2017. You won't actually believe it when you see it. It's in the best hotel in Acapulco, and we got the best rates for it too. That's the great thing. It's a 5-star resort. It's the newest convention conference center in Acapulco. That's actually where all the big performers all perform. Ricky Martin was just there last month, and we're going to have our concert there and our conference there. And actually, the conference stage, it actually looks like the Grammy Awards. It's that luxurious. It's that amazing. And the way that we got the deal was quite interesting too. We got a call from the hotel. The hotel is called the Mundo Imperial Hotel, and we got a call and they said, "We want your conference at our hotel." And we said, "Oh, okay, well, we'll check it out." But we were quite happy with the Grand Hotel last year, and we went and met with them. We had lunch, and the guy said, "Yeah, the owner of this hotel, he's a Mexican billionaire. He's actually a narco-capitalist, and he wants this conference at this hotel." And so he offered us amazing rates. It's like $65 a night for a 5-star hotel. And as I mentioned, the stage, you won't believe it. So I really have a plan this year to, we're going to high quality record all the speeches and put them out over the ensuing year, sort of like TED Talks, but with actual non-statist, really good talks. That'll be the highest of quality. So it's really going to be amazing.
Rick, what's going to be your presentation? You go down there, what can they expect when they meet you at Anarchapulco?
Well, what people can expect is from me is to hear just how much the history rhymes right now. Like, a history lesson sounds boring, but when you realize that the printing press conflict is repeating all over again with the internet, like we discussed in the previous hours, that not just gives you an insight into just how much people will be people at the end of the day and how vested interests will repeat, it also gives you a blueprint for how to win. And that's what I hope to be talking about.
Okay, see, now this is one thing I want to make sure we define win. What is your win?
Win is to beat the old vested interests and not be locked into a serfdom of mainstream media just spouting propaganda. But going back to this decentralized idea of freedom of speech, we have the power to do that.
Okay, now, I want to make sure that we understand what Anarchapulco really is advocating. And if you look at what the Pirate Party thing's doing, and here we're doing Arizona, we're going to have us some fun. Well, the thing is, I'm going, Jeff, how does this dovetail into what Anarchapulco is doing? You see an affinity there? Is there a movement you're being part of, trying to direct, bring people together? How is this going to perpetuate through Central and South America? Are you looking to clone what Rick's doing, or you just want to give attention to him? How'd you hook up with Rick? Tell me about that decision.
I actually don't remember how we hooked up, Rick. Do you?
Not really. I mean, we've been seeing each other's in the discussion for quite some time.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly how we met, but once I found out more about Rick, I think it was about a year or two ago, I found out about his Swarmwise, and I started hearing from people that are using this, his concepts all over the place, and then I heard about the Pirate Party, of course, and when I started seeing how well that's been doing, I've been a full supporter, absolutely, of Rick. It's amazing, just like in Iceland alone, like half the government are anarchists now. It's awesome. So I totally support it. So how it sort of dovetails into Anarchapulco, well, that's anarchy, right? There is no real plan. There is no real like form or format or anything like that. Just sort of anyone who's into doing anything towards freedom, voluntary transactions, freedom of speech, as Rick pointed out, freedom of everything, then we're down with. So Anarchapulco, the tagline for this year is evacuate the state, brave the future. And the real sort of thrust of what we're talking about mostly this year is creating new systems that make the old systems obsolete. And that, of course, is a big part of what Rick's doing. And that's, of course, what all the cryptocurrency revolution is all about. I think, Ernie, you've been around this movement for so long, much longer than me, so you've seen a lot more than me. But I remember when I first started getting into it around 2002, 2003, there was a lot of mostly just sort of angry, upset, unhappy anarchists. And there wasn't a lot of positivity. There wasn't a lot of let's change the system, but not necessarily just by doing it from inside the system, which is partly what Rick's doing with the Pirate Party and what people like Adam Kokesh are going to try to do in 2020, but also creating new systems that make the old systems obsolete. And that's really the answer, in my opinion. And that's Bitcoin's been the massive example of that. If you ask people 10 years ago, how are we going to get rid of central banking? Probably wouldn't be too many answers except for let's load up the shotguns and go to the Federal Reserve building and just start shooting it, which really doesn't solve the problem and actually creates more of a problem, especially if you're coming from the anarchist viewpoint, which is we try not to ever use violence against other people whenever possible. So I think the best way is to create new systems and make the old systems obsolete. So Bitcoin has been the perfect example of that. Started in 2009 on one guy's computer. It just hit $1,100 this morning. It's up, who knows?
Yeah, it went up since last time we checked it, Ernie.
Yeah, it's probably up again. I don't even know. It's been up so much. It was $250 last summer. It was $3 when I started covering it and recommending it in 2011, and that's really changing things. That's you can see the central banks and the governments around the world panicking now. They don't know how to stop it because it's decentralized, and that's exactly what Rick was saying. This is a decentralization revolution, and that's a big part of what we're talking about in Acapulco.
You know, one thing we didn't emphasize enough was cryptocurrency and how it applied to the campaigning of the Pirate Party. Rick, you know, give us Bitcoin, cryptocurrency in general. I'm just wondering, this central banking obsolescence going in, what role did that play? How often did that come up?
Everything comes back to money as debt and where you get your resources from. Basically, as long as the old world can keep printing money which they don't even care about checking at the bank, then you're up against very hard odds. But again, with the printing press, you saw the exact same thing. And basically, when you have a decentralized freedom of speech able to question the narrative, and then at the end of the day, these giants are going to come down.
I am so excited about hearing, God, man, do I go to... All right, well, I tell you what, Rick, it was great having you on last couple of hours. This is going to be awesome discussion. We're new best buds for a long time.
Thank you so much. This has been great talking to you all, and I'll see you all soon.
Thank you, Rick. We'll stay in touch, man. We'll keep you informed what's going on.
Thanks.
All right,
See you later.
Yeah! What would be that mission? How about that? Leave me aloneism. I vote for that. You know, the Dollar Vigilante has been, an effort of Jeff Berwick that kind of brought people together to do a lot of things. You go to dollarvigilante.com or Anarcha, with an A, Anarchapulco.com, Anarchast.com, and you can get his podcast. Jeff Berwick is going to be having some fun this year. What are some of the highlights? What's the theme of this one as compared to the other two, Jeff?
That's a good question. I almost forget what the other two themes were now. The time's been flying, but this one's called Evacuate the State, Brave the Future. And we're really, just building on what we've been building the last couple of years. And it's really just turned out to be now the world's biggest sort of get-together for world changers. We have so many amazing people coming down. I'm going to announce one that we haven't even announced to anyone yet, so I'm going to give you the first hear about that person. But first of all, some of the speakers are, of course, Larkin Rose, the most dangerous superstition, and he's working on his mirror project right now, which looks amazing. Jeffrey Tucker of Liberty.me, he's going to be coming down. Of course, Adam Kokesh, Adam versus the Man, and he wrote the book Freedom. Lauren Southern, she's going to be a first-time person coming down from Rebel Media. She's got a massive audience up in Canada, actually around the world, sort of like an anti-SJW sort of a focus, but that's she's an up-and-comer. She's going to be huge in sort of the media business. Luke Radowski, of course, already is huge in the media business. We Are Change. He'll be here again as always. Judd Weiss coming down. He was the VP candidate for John McAfee for the Libertarian Party. They unfortunately lost to Gary Johnson, but Judd's coming down. He'll be speaking. Julia Turiansky of Brave the World. Roger Ver, the Bitcoin Jesus, the biggest name in Bitcoin. It's coming down. Of course, Rick Falkvinge, or Falkenwing, that's easier to pronounce, is coming down, of course. He was here last year also. Dana Martin, who does radical unschooling. She's probably the biggest name in unschooling and peaceful parenting in the world. She's also going to be having a 3-day, I think, family camp for unschooling and peaceful parenting. So a lot of people are bringing their families down to this one and going to be going to that camp. I should let you know as well, the hotel has a full-time sort of a kids area from all the way from toddlers to teenagers, with like Xboxes and all that kind of stuff in the hotel. All right, I was just mentioning Max Egan of the Crow House. He's got a big radio show about The Matrix. That guy T, he's pretty big on the internet now. He's a young guy from, I believe, Texas. Got a big internet following, and he's got a lot of these younger people are really building these followings. Like I mentioned, Lauren Southern and that guy T, they'll all be coming down. We've got Lauren Young, the Anarchy Girl. She's got a big following on Facebook. Amanda Rockwitz, the Dragon Anarchist. We've got Mark Victor, who you know very well. Yeah. He's also bringing down another lawyer from his firm who's also an anarchist. So that's great. We have Sasha Daygame. He's sort of made his name in the what they call the pickup artist world, but he's moved on to a number of other things. He's actually going to be having an anarchy and relationships sort of a course at the event. Trace Mayer, big name in Bitcoin. He's been one of the biggest people in Bitcoin. Ian Freeman and Mark Edge, of course, the Free Talk Live are coming down. They'll be actually broadcasting live from the event. Oh, that's cool. Tim Moen, who's the leader of the Libertarian Party of Canada, who's also a narco-capitalist. He'll be coming down. Dan Dix, Press for Truth, another independent journalist, which is so important now with what's going on with fake news. With Sterling Lujan, the psychological anarchist, Vip Jedlicka, who is the president of Liberland, and actually Liberland's going very well. I don't know if you know about that, Ernie.
Yeah, no, we're all over it, man. This has been, your list is just very impressive, and what happens, I've gone to the last two, the first two that you've had, and I'm not like, hell no this year. I just haven't been the incentive to kind of, I've got your list of like, damn, it's just really, it's expensive. How much is it to go? I mean, what's the cost for people to go to the Anarchapulco?
Well, really, the biggest cost for most people is going to be getting here, but there's a lot of fairly cheap flights to Mexico City from a lot of places, especially in the U.S. I would tell people to look at that. There's also Alma Summers, who you probably know. She's going to be doing something called the Freedom Fleet. They're actually going to take sailboats down from San Diego to Acapulco, and they're also going to have a ground caravan fleet, they call it. So if you have a car and you want to come down with a bunch of other people, you can do it that way. So you could probably drive from Arizona or Texas to Acapulco in about a day or two, and it would just cost you your gas money. And then, like I mentioned, the hotel actually isn't that expensive. It's I think we got it for $65 a night, which is amazing. And then the conference itself is $245 registration. So if you really want, we had a people just driving down last year. One guy actually drove down from, I think, Boston or somewhere in the northeast, and his van, by the time he pulled up in front of the hotel, you probably remember this, Ernie, it actually burst into flames. And he actually has never left since then. He took that as sort of a omen or a sign, and so a lot of people just drove down. I think one guy hitchhiked. So,
yeah, was that the gentleman?
You can do it fairly cheap.
There was one guy, young guy, it might have been the van that his father came down. I met his father.
Yeah, they drove down together, and then the van burst into flames.
You know, he was like, I don't know about these. And then after you meet, every guy, and, of course, grain. So, okay. So I guess it's not just a hippie commune of the early Woodstock, and kind of there's a little bit more structure as far as their minds.
Remind me the dates again.
It's February 25th to the 28th. And one interesting thing we're doing this year, so it's 4 days this year because we just had too much all packed into 3 days last year. We're going to have it a little bit more relaxed this coming year, a little bit more time so you're just not packed constantly with things. But the fourth day, February 28th, we're calling Cryptopulco, which is going to be all blockchain and cryptocurrency things. Oh, and the person that I didn't mention who we haven't even announced yet, and we actually have a number of big names we still haven't announced, is Foster Gamble of the Procter Gamble family.
Thrive.
Big name. He started the Thrive movement. He just committed to coming down, and we're going to have a bunch of other big names we're going to be announcing. We're also going to have a big concert with Eric July and Backwards. We're probably going to be promoting that with the local Acapulco community. We might even have 5,000 or 10,000 people come out for the concert. So it's going to be quite the event.
Okay, we just same
old story, same old story, same old song and dance.
Yeah, man, it's the same. Let me tell you what it's saying. Leave me alone, 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 leave me alone. And then you have other people doing the same thing. And in Acapulco, there was the first year, hey, man, these guys were, the Gringos spent some money. They were having some fun. They were respectful. Hell, some of them spoke Spanish. It's kind of, okay, it didn't suck. Second year, hey, man, these guys are pretty cool. On the beach, the vendors, the masseuses, buying the hats and get kind of, we're pretty generous and teaching everybody, hey, you need to have a Bitcoin tip, QR code on your massage table. You make some money.
Let's talk vendors. Do you have vendors at this event? Like what kind of merch is for sale?
Well, anyone's welcome to, get a booth at the conference. We'll have, of course, an Anarchapulco merchandise. We have a bookstore which we run because there's so many authors who are speakers at the event. So instead of them all having their own booth with their books and having to, sell and sign their own books, they can just, we have a bookstore where we manage all that for them. So there's, as I mentioned, so many authors. Rick Falkvinge with Swarmwise, Larkin Rose, The Most Dangerous Superstition, Adam Kokesh, Freedom. I could go on and on. So it's going to be tons of stuff like that. We actually have, last year, the most popular restaurant was a restaurant called Verde Vegan. And a lot of people are into vegan food. Not everyone, but a lot of people are. And we actually, we moved the conference this year to a different part of town, which is closer to the airport. It's sort of a much more luxurious sort of area. And it's a lot further away from Verde Vegan. So we actually talked the hotel into allowing Verde Vegan to actually operate their restaurant out of the hotel during that week.
Awesome!
Oh, that's cool.
No, that's one thing I want to make sure the audience knows. Donna and I spent time going to different restaurants. There's this one place, God, for like $3, you got this big ass fruit smoothie, and I'll have another one, and another one, and we ate really healthy and well. It was a lot of good food, and you'd have like a 5-course meal of everything, and it was $25 or something. I mean, it was just so inexpensive. Is that holding up with the dollar being strong and everything? Well, what are we looking like in exchange rate, and how like kings can we party?
Oh, it's even more cheap now. It's unbelievable. It's kind of sad for the Mexican people because their peso has been going down so much. But I think last year the Mexican to U.S. dollar was maybe around 15 or 16 to 1. It's now over 20 to 1. So I tell a lot of people it's basically free to live here now. I can't believe my expenses because I make most of my money in Bitcoin or U.S. dollars, and I live here most of the time. And it's basically free to live here. I live in a house house that I rent because I live a perpetual traveler, prior taxpayer lifestyle. It could be in a rap video, this house. If you're watching this video, you can see behind me, that's my view. It's in one of the best neighborhoods in Acapulco. It's about 6 bedrooms, and I think it's about $1,500 a month. I have a driver, a cook, a maid, more people working for me. They're all about $12 a day. So I literally wake up, walk into my office, which is in my house. It's all cleaned up by my maid. I ask my cook to make me breakfast, and then my kids are already driven to school with my driver, and all for about a little over $2,000 a month.
Damn. Now, if you go on the other side of the ridge, towards the airport, does that change? I mean, is it, as good a deals, or is that, man, you're in gringo territory now?
No, it's definitely not gringo territory. Actually, that area is where a lot of the Mexican wealthy people all have vacation homes. But it still has a lot of the, you can find anything in that area. You can still find those taco stands for $2 and get a, fill up on tacos, no problem. But you can also find a restaurant. There's one in particular that I kind of like called Harry's Steakhouse, where you can spend a few $100s per person for dinner and have the best dinner of your life, but it is expensive. So you can have everything, whatever you want here in Acapulco.
This is a lot of people. I tell you what, this is an example. There was a young woman that was from Chicago. I think she worked she could do remotely, and she just said, "Nah, I'm staying. I'm not going. I'm done. I'm good." And a lot of it was a ayahuasca experience that they had there that just changed them. They go, "Yeah, no, I'm holding on to stuff that I'm here." And is there ayahuasca ceremonies that's going to give you a whole bunch of new patriots there? Is that your recruiting tool?
Every year since we've had Anarchapulco, about 10 to 15% of the people who attend the conference don't leave. That happened the first year. It happened last year. We now have, I don't know, it's dozens and dozens, might even be close to 100 now, people living here full time. As I mentioned, the guy whose van burst into flames, he's never left. You brought up the woman from Chicago. Her name's Erica Harris. She was on Anarchast, and she is a copywriter from Chicago, and she was like, why would I ever go back to Chicago? And that's how a lot of people feel when they come down here. And she went to the ayahuasca experience, and we're going to be doing that again next year. Anarchapulco's got numerous facets to it. There's kind of a whole facet of the activists, the kind of the movers, the entrepreneurs, the people creating things like cryptocurrencies and all that. People like Rick Falkvinge, that's easier to pronounce, is doing all those sort of stuff. But then you have all this sort of almost like hippie sort of people who are really into energy and psychedelics and spirituality and all that sort of stuff. And I'm really into that as well. I'm into both. And we have the ayahuasca. We had it last year, and it was a massive success. We sold it out. We could only handle 50 people. Sold it out. People were actually begging to get in, but the shaman could only handle 50 people. I didn't hear a bad word about it. I heard that it changed numerous people's lives, and we'll be doing that again at the upcoming Anarchapulco. 2 days, I think, after the conference, we'll be having the same shaman, and we might even be flying up one of the top shamans from Peru this year for that experience. So yeah, there's all kinds of experiences to be had here in Anarchapulco.
Well, I'll tell you, paint the picture. Don and I went out to the beach early Monday morning. We were like, cool, it's 9 o'clock, let's go to the beach and chill and spend the day on the beach. We got to leave the following day when we're going on the beach. And everybody had started, I think it was like midnight, Sunday night, and so by the time they were just starting to come down, of course, day breaks, they're on the beach, they're kind of still in their, trip a little bit, but they're wanting to share. And you say, all right, tell me everything. And I went through that with probably 3 or 4 people, and it was always the same. Total change in their perspective. The best way I could describe it is it allowed you to process. Your brain was so heightened in its ability to process information that all these different scenarios, it was like simulations of running your life through your head. In a minute or two, you go, okay, not that one. No, not that one. Oh, that one. That was. So they would processing simulations in their head for the rest of their life with all this information that they were able to deal with, and it just gave them the capacity to get a totally new perspective from having run these scenarios in their head, and they changed their life, and they just made that decision there. Boom, done. And I'm going, wow, that's a powerful experience. I'm I'm not sure I want to do that, man. So is there any negative, things people should be going, I don't know, man, all of a sudden you abandon your family and all of a sudden you live on a pirate ship? I mean, what's the risk of this experience?
Well, it's how you look at things, right? Because, you could abandon your family and live on a pirate ship, but is that a risk or a reward? Are you actually following what you really want to do, right? So what ayahuasca and many of these psychedelics allow you to do is self-analyze, and I've done it a few times, and I've gone through the same experiences, and it really just allows you, because we live in this world, especially today, where it's just nonstop information, just constant noise, and you really get in your head a lot, and this allows you to kind of disconnect for a few hours from just thinking, and you kind of go outside and look at yourself. And during that process, everyone finds different things, but if you're looking for something and you really feel that it's the right time, and I'm not saying everyone should do it, it's kind of a serious thing to do. It's not something you should just do, I'll try it, I heard it might be fun or something. No, only do it if you really are serious about it and you've looked into it and you really want to make some changes in your life, but it can be very incredibly powerful.
I don't know anyone that's tried it that it hasn't been. I mean, it's a process. It's a thing. You need somebody to walk you through it. They're like, everybody had their puke buckets. I mean, it's going to make you physically, throw up, generally. So they got, get your puke bucket ready, because after you do it, you're going to be puking. Everybody get around to the puke bucket, and they're going, all right, if that's what it takes. And they come out different people. Welcome back to Declare Your Independence. Another place to do that is, you need a place, you just go, declare my independence. See how easy that was? No government form. Well, there might be a couple of government forms to get down to Acapulco, but there really, my experience has been that there's really no schedule other than the speakers, and then people just kind of find friends and they go do whatever. But, sometimes you'll have like a organized event. You'll have a dinner, or you'll have some excursions and so on. And now, are you going more than one track? I mean, are you doing multiple stages, or it's going to be one again?
Yeah, we're doing 2 stages this year. Last year was 3 days. Now it's 4 days with 2 stages. So it's just growing massively. So there's stuff for everyone. But what I suggest to people is just to come down and try to spend like a week if you can, and just pick the things you want to go to. Because there's so many things. If you went to them all, you'd have to have a massive amount of cocaine or something just to go to all of them. We have so many workshops. So even before the conference is my Dollar Vigilante 1-day summit, where we'll be talking about investments and cryptocurrencies and gold and silver and how to protect yourself and profit during what's going on. Then we have the 4 days of Anarchapulco, and the 4th day, if you're interested, is cryptocurrencies and blockchain. It's going to be all the top blockchain and Bitcoin people from around the world. And so if you're not interested in that can be a day off for you. If you are interested in that and you're not as interested in other stuff, then just show up for that day. There's going to be dinners, there's going to be a concert. And then afterwards, we have numerous, almost countless workshops this year. We have, of course, Luke Rudowski doing his 3rd Change Media University, which is a 1-day boot camp on how to do independent journalism and how to do media on the internet from an expert who has, I think, 600,000 subscribers on YouTube. Adam Kokesh is going to do a homesteading workshop, so he's going to be telling you how he's homesteading there in Arizona, or is it New Mexico? Arizona, okay. And then we have, as I mentioned earlier, Sasha Daygame, who's famous in the pickup artist community. Is going to be having Anarchy in Dating, which is, I hear, amazing event. He had it last year, and everyone who went to it really loved it. Dana Martin's coming back for her Free Your Family Camp, which is a 3-day family camp about unschooling, peaceful parenting for a lot of people who want to understand how they can raise their children without coercion, without sending them to government schools. And she's got numerous kids, and they all, even at 10 years old, have their own businesses and stuff like that. And there's even many, many more. There's one run by Star O'Hara called Artistry Group. She's an artist, be about being an artist. There's Terry Brock's running your Fund Your Freedom Entrepreneurship Seminar. And then there's numerous others. So, I say to a lot of people who, especially younger people, who their parents say, save up for them to go to college so they can get a piece of paper, their Bachelor of Arts, which is completely useless, or something even worse like gender studies, and it's going to cost them like $50,000 or $100,000 for 4 years. I would just say come down to Acapulco and attend some of these things. This is some of the best education you can get with some of the best people around doing these sort of things, and it's it's just you can learn so much. And not only that, but even just coming to a place like Acapulco and seeing how things are here, because travel is actually the best education. So if you haven't been down to a place like Acapulco, one of the freest sort of cities on earth, that's why I spend a lot of time here, that's an education in itself.
There's a the question that a lot of people would have is international trade without the state. You're just able to just buy and sell and ship and bite me, and oh my goodness, I'll bring up my ship on 12 miles outside and send the drones to deliver of who wants my, all this stuff is coming. It's going to be pirate ships, literally, that are just with drones delivering, what is the man going to do? But it requires an internet currency, so here comes crypto. And I'm wondering, in your experiences with in Mexico there, and certainly Central and South America, and people from around the world coming in, has Bitcoin been a consolidating factor? Is it, currency trade makes friends? I mean, tell me what the future of that is.
It's been slow in Latin America, although it's growing dramatically now. Bitso is the largest Bitcoin exchange in Mexico. We're going to have Jose Rodriguez, a friend of mine, speaking at our Cryptopulco. They just had their biggest volumes ever in the last month at Bitso. So it's you can actually, I think, buy and sell Bitcoin at any what they call they're called OXXOs here and in Mexico, but they're basically 7-Elevens. They're on every corner here in Acapulco. You can, I think, buy and sell Bitcoin right from there. So it's slowly catching on. There's places that it's been growing faster. Argentina has a much bigger Bitcoin market because of what's been going on there. Venezuela is interesting. I was just there this year with their currency collapsing. Bitcoin's been taking off. So all these places, it's sort of taking off, but it's a little slower than it has been in other places. But it's definitely, absolutely a growing thing.
Well, I'm wondering, it's what's your encouragement for people, of course, to get involved? But I mean, it's at like 1,100 now. I mean, is now the time to buy in? It's still going to the moon. Are we going to get some scaling controversy and and it's 500 again? I mean, I'm, my sons are like, hey, Dad, we're wanting to get into the crypto we're thinking, we know you and meetings on it. I'm going, yeah. Well, why? Because somebody told you? Yeah, this one guy. And I'm going, what the hell have I been telling you for freaking years? When you should have bought it when I was getting it when it was $4, and now you want to start buying in at 1,100?
Yeah, my dad finally had me set him up to accept Bitcoin on his invoices.
I know. You're never a prophet in your own land, And so the Bitcoin thing, I know we talk about it. It represents more than just it's like a philosophy. It's a decentralized. That's what our whole pirate effort is about: is promoting decentralization of everything. Shelter, food, energy, production, communication, pirate rate. I mean, everything. And we just looked at it as a really good vehicle for doing that. Bitcoin seems to be kind of that vehicle, and I'm wondering, like the hotel that you're staying at, are they going to be taking some Bitcoin there? Have you convinced them to delve into it?
Well, being in Mexico, we've had so many problems with their booking system and accepting credit cards that we've just been working with them on that so far. But once that's all fixed, we're definitely going to talk them into accepting Bitcoin. We're going to be, there's numerous places in Acapulco who already accept Bitcoin, including Verde Vegan, things like that. But as far as where Bitcoin's going to go, I have no idea. It's only 8 years old, the currency. It's still quite new. But I'm much more bullish on it now than I was in 2013 when it was around $1,000 also. I thought that rise, in retrospect for sure, was way too fast. But now the the entire community and the entire sector is massive. There's literally hundreds of millions of dollars being invested into Bitcoin and blockchain technologies, which are launching all kinds of other amazing cryptocurrencies. And I was just looking today, the top 14 cryptocurrencies are all up massively today, and a lot of them have very interesting things about them. So Bitcoin was sort of the first, and it's basically just a currency. That's basically just all it is, which is great, which is what we need. But now everyone's building off of the blockchain technology. So there's things like Ethereum, it's up 18% today. That allows you to do private contracts and things like that. There's things like Monero, which is a very, there's really no way to track it. So that really deals with the privacy issue. It's up 4% today. Dash is up 26% today. It's similar to Monero in that it's more private. Then there's MadeSafe, which is actually putting the entire internet onto a blockchain. So creating an entire decentralized internet. The MadeSafe coin's up 9% today. There's Steam, which is up 5% today. That's a entirely decentralized social media network on the blockchain. So that really deals with all this censorship issues. So this is an entire industry that is forming right now. So it's going to be massive in my opinion.
Well, it's good to hear MadeSafe's going on. I invested heavy in that in the beginning. That was my, I went in on that one. And from the beginning, and David Irvine, and we've had him on a regular basis for years. I'm a MadeSafe promoter fan, but not so much that just MadeSafe. I'm glad they're doing, and I like the guys and what their plan is. But it's that concept, it's the pirating of everything. It's just no, you don't get to, no, you're not allowed to censor. You're not going to stop. You're not going to. The signal goes everywhere, and I go everywhere. So you can go because you'll meet people just like you. And there's more than you think, and at higher levels and more penetrative into society, and you're going to get that feeling. You go, we've already arrived. Anarchapulco. Jeff Berwick, thank you very much for coming on. Hold on a second, I want to talk to you.
Thank you.
What would you say to people that are on the fence about coming here next year?
I would say that you absolutely have to come.
You only live life once, and you better come because you'll live to regret it if you don't.
Get rid of that limiting belief. Be free.
You won't regret it. You'll have like a really amazing memory, and it will be awesome.
A lot of people thought about it and were on the fence, and then when they see some of the footage later and they hear some of the stories, they start thinking, "My God, why didn't I go to that?" Why the hell not? It's amazing. It's beautiful here. Come on down.
If you've been here once, you would never not come back. So I think if someone's never been and they're thinking of coming, to them I'd say, get your ass over here or you're going to be sorry. But if you've been here already, I'll see you here next year.